Hello and welcome back to our farm.
Yeah, thanks very much for tuning in to another Newbies episode. This episode is going to be slightly different.
This is a long overdue opportunity for us to answer all of the questions that you guys have every week on our videos. So thank you so much to everybody who asked us a question. But we also thought we'd do things a bit differently and give you a bit of a farm tour at the same time so that you can get your bearings, and if you're new around here, get a feel for what we are doing here in northern Portugal.
Exactly, twice the fun. We are going to be answering questions like,
how did we find our property?
is it legal?
How much did it cost?
What are we going to do when the kids need to go to school?
Are we having another baby?
Oh, yeah, another baby. But we're also going to be answering questions about the farm, about our plans for the farm, future projects, renovation projects. What are we going to do with that big gnarly looking building that's just inside the courtyard to the right hand side there?
Travel plans, how we met, all sorts of things. So stick around. Thank you so much for being here. If you're new here, please consider subscribing to our channel and joining us. We're renovating this abandoned farm into our dream homestead with our two little boys, Crusoe and Sawyer, and we would love to have you along for the ride. But without further ado,
let's crack on and head up to the tiny house where we'll be answering the questions about how do we earn our money.
so our current little renovation project, a tiny house. You, my love, have been very busy in that.
Welcome back to the tiny house, and later on in this episode we will be answering questions about the tiny house build. But for now, possibly the biggest question that we've been asked is, how do we earn our money? One of the ways we get money is through brand sponsorships, and we pick those brands really carefully. We pick them because we think they're going to resonate with you and they're relevant to ourselves. When I wake up in the morning, I basically put on 3 items of clothes: my baseball cap, my pants, and a t-shirt. This week's sponsor is True Classic, and True Classic are a menswear brand with a bit of a twist. They make t-shirts that make you feel and look great. They're cut a little bit differently from the average baggy t-shirt. Slightly tighter around the arms and chest, so make you feel a bit stronger and a little bit more powerful, if you like, and they've got a bit more space around the tummy. For obvious reasons, that feels pretty good. The cut is the same across all of their styles. So whether you're buying a jumper, a sweatshirt, or a t-shirt, you're gonna get that same nice feeling cut. They're also, the t-shirts especially, have got this nice softness to them that makes it nice to wear. If you are a guy out there that wants to look good in a t-shirt, or if you're a wife or a gran that wants your men to look good in a t-shirt, True Classic is the right way to go. And the best news is by clicking on the link below, trueclassic.com/newbies, and using the code newbies, you're going to get a full 25% off your first full price order. Great news indeed, because by clicking on that link, you're going to be supporting our channel, helping us pay the bills, and also get yourself a great looking t-shirt with a 25% discount. Thanks very much. So the tiny house isn't finished yet. There are a lot of projects to carry on doing. And in forthcoming episodes, and in upcoming episodes, there's going to be a whole bunch of stories about finishing this and other projects.
Probably one of the questions we get asked the most is for advice on buying property in Portugal and how did we find our property. We found this property on a website called immovirtual.com. We'll link it in the description below. We contacted the local estate agent who was marketing this place. We came to see it. It was only the second property we saw in Portugal. We fell in love and here we are.
Once we found this property, once we decided we wanted to buy it, we then got in touch with a local solicitor, and we found that solicitor online on the UK government website.
We did, yep.
And then after we did that,
the process was fairly straightforward, really.
10%
with the help
deposit.
of the estate agent and the lawyers, we had to pay a 10% deposit initially to secure the property. That is completely non-refundable, so don't do that unless you know for sure that you want the property.
100%.
And then it was a case of working out how to move the money across and pay for it. And yeah, once we did that, we went to the notary, we signed the deeds, and A for away.
A for away. Okay, my darling, what's the next question?
Okay, so as far as farm tour goes, the tiny house is kind of the top of the farm, and from here we're going to work our way down and try and give you a bit of an idea of where everything is. Behind me is our most traditional looking building, our little stone house, and loads of you ask if we would ever open it up as an Airbnb for people to come and stay on the farm and help us and to do some work. When we initially bought this place, thought that that might be the way that we would do it, but to be honest, the more time we spend here, the more it becomes a home and the less we feel inclined to try and pursue some sort of tourism enterprise on the property. You also need a whole bunch of different licensing, which we haven't looked into. Oh, it's a spider. Which we haven't looked into, but I don't know that we will anytime soon, because for now, we're just happy with it being our home. But thank you so much for everybody who writes in to offer us help. We do need it, but we have the most amazing local community, and if you've been watching for a while, you will have seen various people on our channel who come and help us on the farm. One of the other questions we were asked recently is, do we pay them, or do we say thank you in some other way? We do pay them. Joao works for us every weekend for a couple of hours, and we pay him. He's 17 years old, and it's a great way for him to start making some money, and without him, I don't know what we would do. Okay, so let's head off into the house that we're living in now, because a lot of the questions have to do with the future. What are we going to do with the boys' school? How are we going to live? What's the plan with the derelict house? The two people in the courtyard, by the way, are my mum and dad. They're here from Zimbabwe, very kindly looking after Soya. So this is our current living arrangement. If you've been here a while, you'll know that John built this kitchen himself, and this used to be 2 rooms. We knocked it through and it's now 1 room. This is all the space we have. This is our kitchen living room, and upstairs we have 1 bedroom and a bathroom, and all 4 of us are sleeping in 1 bedroom. So many of you have asked, and I think it's probably because we talk about lack of sleep quite often and we look quite tired, whether or not we have any plans to expand and provide the boys with their own bedroom so that we can get some much needed sleep.
To answer that question, it's really simple. We absolutely do, 100%. In fact, we had an architect here today helping us out with some ideas, which we are very excited to share with you when the ideas become a little bit more visual.
Yeah. We're also checking all of our local permissions, making sure that we've got the right paperwork, that everything's in place. So more about that also soon.
Absolutely.
For the moment though, we are all in 1 bedroom.
We are.
While we're here with Crusoe, one of the questions we get asked a lot is, what is the plan with the boys and school? We're not 100% sure just yet, but I think currently the plan is that they will go to a local Portuguese school, at least initially for primary school. But we are really lucky. The area that we're in has got some fantastic schools, an incredible kind of extracurricular academy. So there's lots and lots of options, and we're going to figure it out as they get a bit older.
I think one thing we almost certainly won't be doing is sending Crusoe and Sawyer to an international school. I think that would probably be something we don't do. Yep.
Absolutely.
Right, get Crusoe some water.
Water.
And we'll carry on.
Right, I need a glass of water, and I think Sawyer needs a feed. So I'm going to leave you to it for a second, and I'll be back when he's done.
Great. Okay, so we just very briefly touched on this building behind us. It's knackered, it's old. We've been in there, I think, in a couple of the very early episodes that we had from the farm. We did a little tour of the inside. Let's go in and have a look around it. Currently, we've got Maria's doors here, these old doors. They're taking shelter from the weather. They'll be turned into something special pretty soon. We've also got a whole bunch of junk in here. It's not a very nice building. Let's wide angle that. There we go. Roofs falling in. We just wander down this way as well. So next question, how do we manage all the filming, everything that we do in here with 2 small children? We just work really, really hard. We often take it in turns to do different jobs around the farm, looking after the kids, which is probably why you don't see Tara and I in too many shots together, because whilst I'm doing some filming and some work, Tara's looking after the boys. And whilst Tara, of course, is doing some filming and some work, I'm looking after the boys. And sometimes when the boys are asleep, and almost only when they're both asleep, do we manage to get some time to be on camera together. or doing some of the projects that we like to do together. And that's just the way it is. That's the way it has to be for the next, year, 2 years, 3 years. I don't know yet. Are we going to have more kids, and is this going to carry on? Well, I'll let Tara answer that just a little bit later on in this episode. How do we manage 2 episodes a week? We are super organized now. We've been making videos here on YouTube for around about 3 years now. And when you've been doing something for 3 years, 150 videos there or thereabouts, you usually start to get quite good at it. Quite good at the organization anyway. And when we're filming, we try to film things in a linear motion. So we'll start one episode, start having a chit chat about something. And then after we've had that chit chat, we'll film the little bits of B-roll that go above the chit chat to make it more interesting. And then we'll go on and we try and film things in a line so that when we edit, the editing can be a little bit faster than it is now. All technical stuff, but it just speeds up the process. We also spend a lot of time thinking about what kind of episodes we're going to put together to make it as interesting as possible for you guys. Right, time to go and find Tara and see what she's up to. Hello, my darling.
Hello, my love.
Always good.
All boys are good. We're back with Papa. Christmas, yeah?
The next question. What do you do when you're feeling down and deflated? That was a good question.
Oh, that is a good question. Do you know, for me, time outside makes the world of difference. So I like to go for a little walk around the farm, appreciate how beautiful the place that we live in is, look up at the leaves with the light on from the sun, feel what it feels like to be healthy and well, and appreciate just how enormous that is when it's something that you kind of could take for granted every day. And I suppose stop to look at the flowers a little bit and spend some time on the lawn. Let's go down it next.
So basically just slow down a little bit, hey?
Slow down, spend some time in nature, take some deep breaths, and think about everything that you're grateful for.
One last ticket before it's gone. One last summer before it's fall. Tune your strings and play your cards. Little words hit me like a game of darts. And you're beating on my drum. And you're beating on my door. Running faster than my dreams. And I can't stop to breathe.
So in the spirit of farm talk, we're kind of walking down around the front of the property now. Behind us are our houses and buildings, down to our lawn, which is kind of the heart of our home. One of the things we didn't finish answering properly in the tiny house was, how do we make our money?
It's a really good question, and it's been a hard one. Take a look at this screenshot that I've just taken. Basically,
Come on.
it's a screenshot of the first 2 years that we worked on YouTube. In that time, we released one video every week. So just over 100 videos, basically 100 20-minute, 25-minute videos that took quite a long time. Because in the beginning, when you start editing videos and you start putting videos together, it really does take a long time to do them. You're learning your craft, I suppose. So we made, in our first 2 years on YouTube, just over $5,000.
Not enough to live on, and certainly not enough to renovate a project.
That's about 50 bucks a video, everybody. So it definitely wasn't really something that paid us very much. Nowadays, it's a little bit different. YouTube does pay us a salary that we can live off of, which is great. And that salary comes from these little adverts that you see pop up at the beginning and during the episode. So
We take about 40% of that ad revenue and YouTube takes the rest that the advertisers are paid. Brand sponsorships we obviously spoke about a little bit earlier. That's a big part of it.
Sure.
Patreon, our Patreon community support us financially and that is so appreciated. And in return have access to a whole bunch of exclusive content, live hangouts with us every now and then, and just a bit of sort of deeper insight into family life and what's going on the farm. So if you're interested in that, links are below. We're the newbies on Patreon, and yeah, no amount of support on there is too small or too big or anything, and it is all deeply appreciated and means the world. I know what the next question is. It's a big one.
I know what it is too.
When are you going to build the treehouse?
Yeah, great question. So, as soon as the tiny house is finished, as soon as the chicken coop is pretty much finished, and what tends to happen is you get to a certain stage in a project and you're just like, okay, do you know what? It's finished enough so that we can then crack on with the next project. And there's so much to do. We're so busy. At the moment, we've got Mario doing a project just in the back there. That is a super urgent project. As it starts to heat up, we'll tell you more about that on Sunday. Stay tuned.
We need to build an outdoor kitchen out here. Is a dream project as well. So on either side of this lawn, our plan is to put an outdoor kitchen and up there the boys' treehouse. But we ran a competition, if you've been here a while, which you'll know, where we asked everybody to submit their ideas for like this dream treehouse. And what won was a Swiss Family Robinson style treehouse, jungle gym, playground for the boys, which we're going to put up in the trees over there. Thing is though, the boys are still quite little, so it's not an urgent priority right now because only Crusoe could really enjoy parts of it. But I think in the next couple of months, that's going to be sliding to the top of the list.
Tara says it's not an urgent project, but it is an exciting project. And I'm as excited as everybody else to get cracking on that one.
John's desperate to get cracking on that one. So
that's true.
Yeah, soon.
Soon, really
soon. As soon as we can.
Yeah, literally, trust me, as soon as we can.
What's that way, baby? So creating this lawn and this part of the farm is nothing short of a labour of love. John quite literally stomped this entire area with his own 2 feet for 4 days. And speaking of love, the next question has to be answered, and it is, how did we meet? What's our love story?
For all of you fellas out there, this is the story, how it goes. And trust me, it's a good one. I sat there and I was just minding my own business with a beer in a bar in the corner reading a book, and she came over and went, wow, you're well hot. And I just went, okay, fine, got nothing else to do. And then
I will stop you there. Total rubbish. John and I met working together in a travel agent in the UK. It was many moons after that we ended up actually getting together. I think we'd known each other for about 6 years before we actually got together. But yeah, we met in an office. You walked in. It was love at first sight.
So
for you.
Yeah, well, so the story goes that in order to get a job at this office, you need a degree or some sort of university or higher education. I don't have any of that. So I have travelled to a lot of places around the world though, and it was a travel company. So I got the job based on really the fact that I travelled a lot. And as I walked through the door, I saw Tara sat there and I thought, gosh, she's all right. She is. And she
used to tell that way more romantic.
That's true. And Tara sat there and went, that guy's a wally. He's a proper idiot. He hasn't even got a degree and shouldn't be
Not
here.
because I didn't think people with degrees are idiots, by the way, just to be clear.
No,
because
she looked
you
at the
shouldn't
ginger
have got
beard.
a job without the degree, because that was a prerequisite of the job. So
That's
anyway,
true.
and at that time, my degree was very important to me.
Yeah, that's it.
Turns out it's not so important anymore. But anyway.
Yeah, so that's how we met. And then we went on and got married by a penguin.
We
in
did.
Antarctica. Yeah,
great
which is a whole nother story. And well, we literally did get married by a penguin.
If you want to watch that, you can watch our little wedding video
Yeah.
in the link above. So, my love, you haven't got a degree or very much formal education.
No.
A lot of people were asking, how on earth have you learned how to do everything that you do?
Okay, that's a really great question. And for that, we're going to go to the Knot Garage.
Just for farm tour purposes, before we go, down below the lawn are our 2 lower terraces. This one we've put to grapes, and the bottom one is wildflowers and fruit trees. And again, the most magnificent view.
Come on. Okay, so this is the Not Garage. It's called the Not Garage basically because it's not a garage, it's an adega. This is where they used to make wine, and it's filled with all sorts of stuff that the people that used to live here 20 years ago left behind. So whenever I need anything, I often come into the Not Garage and I have a look around, root around in the corners, in the cupboards, and not very often I'll find exactly what I need in order to be able to complete a project. So where did I learn all of my skills? And skills, I think, is pushing the boat out just a little bit. I'm a hobbyist. I like to do things. I like to think about doing things, and I like to create things. I think everybody does secretly. I've had a lot of failure and make a lot of mistakes in order to be able to learn what I've learned, but I've had zero formal training for anything. When it comes to things like electrics, I often, and even plumbing, because I don't like plumbing very much, I often ask experts to come in, especially for the electrics. And when it comes to doing stuff that most people could have a crack at, like Tara did the other day with the table, I'll have a go at it myself. And like Tara did the other day with the table, make not a very good job of it first time round, but persevere until it works or until it looks good. My first big project was when I was in my early 20s. I built a house in Finland with the help of a few carpenters and a few other tradesmen, and I just hung around them a whole bunch and I learned how to do bits and pieces. And since then I've been practicing, and now I feel very confident in being able to build and think and create almost anything that I want to. If you can think it, you can do it. That's what I always say.
Right, John's distracted in the Not Garage, which happens every time he goes in there. So I thought I'd walk you up to our vegetable garden, which is where we have started to grow our own food, and answer a few more questions. The first one, really quick and easy. What are Crusoe and Sawyer's middle names? Crusoe's are Elko and David, named after both of our dads, and Sawyer is Sawyer Scott, named after my brother. So as we walk up here, this is our orchard and our current solar setup, looking to be expanded and kind of put in a better place. Up ahead of me is our new and very beautiful chicken coop, our greenhouse, and our vegetable garden. So behind me is our vegetable garden and my dad and Crusoe. One of the questions was, do we have a farming background? And the answer to that is yes, I suppose we do. Well, I do anyway. I grew up on a farm in Africa, in Zimbabwe. My dad has been a farmer his entire life. I'm not going to say that translates into me knowing an awful lot about farming, but it's definitely rubbed off on me. And it's why we've chosen this lifestyle for our children, because I want my kids to grow up like I did, outside, learning about where food comes from, learning how to grow their own food, learning how to take care of animals, which is why we've got the chickens. So I don't know a lot about the detail about farming and farming practices and what we're doing with the vegetables and things. The plan is to learn, and we're going to have to learn quick because this is starting to get pretty exciting. Anyway, let's go find John, haul him out of the Not Garage, carry on with some more questions. Right, my love.
Hello, my darling.
Time for
quick fire question round.
All right, my love. Quick fire round. First one. Where does Crusoe learn all of his cute Afrikaans words?
Tinks and Nardis.
How do we edit our videos? What program do we use?
We use Final Cut Pro, and we film it all in one line, and we stick it in a timeline, and then we go click, 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 stick some music on it, and then press play.
And where do we get our music?
Artlist. We used to use MusicBed, but then we moved.
Favourite 3 countries you've been to and why?
Afghanistan, because it's cool. India, because I absolutely love the bedlam there, and Greece. Oh, and America. Definitely United States of America.
You're only allowed 3.
For a road trip, the America. Definitely.
Would you ever let into YouTube?
Probably
yes.
One day. Okay, Mary Bates, one of our patrons, has asked, are you and John hoping for any more children in the future?
Currently, no.
Because we're not sleeping very much.
But who knows?
That can change that. Another patron question, Cecilia is asking about our water situation.
Currently, we're still waiting for clearance to be connected to the mains as a backup. Yeah. And we're in the process of a big project with Mario the Digger Man to work on some water storage. So tune in on Sunday.
Yeah, tune in on Sunday. That's going to be a mega one. Okay, Jackie, one of our other patrons, is asking about travel plans for this year.
We are really hoping to get away for a couple of weeks, I don't know, towards the kind of autumn time, maybe to India. But it's something that we're going to do just for us as a bit of a holiday. Not a question, but a note for one of our patrons. Jane, a very, very happy birthday for the 17th. We hope you had a super special day.
Whoop, whoop.
It's actually the day after my mum's.
Yeah, 25 again. And Anna, who's been traveling with us for such a long time, since the very beginning of our journey here on YouTube. Quick shout out for you too.
Yeah, thank you for being here. A question we had from some fellow YouTubers starting out on their journey in Portugal, the very lovely Mr. and Mrs. Adventure, Brittany and Drew, was...
if we had advice for anybody just arriving, just like Drew and Brittany are, into Portugal and starting their adventure here, what would it be?
I think it would be to engage with your local community and meet your neighbours and become a part of the community as quickly as you possibly can. Because quite honestly, without our neighbours and without our community, we would be completely lost. And they are some of the most generous, kind, willing, helpful and warm people you will ever find.
Yeah, all of those questions that you just don't have the answers to, they do. So they're your tour guide. And if you get to visit their houses or their homes, their farms, they'll also be your muse too.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, I think last one.
Last one? Is it the last one?
Sue from our Patreon community as well wants to know if we still have our van safari.
Yeah, no we don't. We sold it.
And John is desperate to build another one. So
Yeah.
watch this space.
Absolutely. Okay, well, that's pretty much it, I think. I think we covered most questions, didn't we?
As many as we could anyway.
Yeah.
Apologies if we didn't get to your question. There was an enormous number of them. So we hoped we picked the ones that would be the most interesting for everybody and
Yeah.
give you as much of an overview about what's coming, what's been, what's
Yeah.
going on currently, where our thinking is.
Yeah. And if you've got a really burning question, just leave it in the comments below. We'll see whether we can answer it in the comments.
Exactly.
Sure.
Exactly.
All right. For now, we'll see you again on Sunday. Tara is planting potatoes with Crusoe, which is hilarious. But remember, like, subscribe, turn on notifications, leave us a comment if you've still got a burning question, and we'll see you next Sunday.
And most importantly, remember to be brave
Think big.
and explore.
Yeah, brilliant.
Cheers, folks. So, we've just said goodbye. But for those of you dedicated souls who have stuck around right till the very end,
Those of you that like to watch a few Crusoe shots at the end of the video that often appear after we've said goodbye.
well, you're in for a treat, because the biggest question that loads of people want to know the answer to is, how much did we pay for our property?
We have told you this before, but if you're new here, this will be the first time you're hearing it. We paid around about...
95,000 euros for this place.
We did. So 95,000 euros, I feel, is a cheap price to buy a dream. And that's exactly what we purchased when we handed over that money.
We have 3 acres of land here. We've got buildings with heaps of potential, and we have a lifestyle that we wouldn't change for the world. So if you think of doing something similar, we would say go for it. Chase the dream. Take a chance.
Take a look on immervirtual.pt. Why not?
Why not?
You know, start that journey for yourselves. It
Exactly.
is magical.
And let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah.
Anyway, now for real. Cheers, folks.
Cheers, folks. See you on Sunday.
See you on Sunday.